QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022 OneNote Presentation Customer Center. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. Here we are in OneNote. If you have access to OneNote, would like to follow along, you're not required to, but if would like to, we're in the icon left-hand side, Topic Introduction tab, down in the 1320 Customer Center tab. Also note, when using OneNote, take a look at the Immersive Reader tool. Topic Introductions, also in the text area, same name, same number, but with transcripts that can be translated into multiple different languages and either listened to or read in them. Also note that the same number and name for the topic introductions will be found in the presentations. The topic introductions designed to give an introduction to the topic, screenshots and links when applicable, and some accounting background that can be used to support the information we'll look into in the QuickBooks presentations. Closing the icon, we're looking at the Customer Center now. So we've been focusing in the prior presentation on the home page. You got the screenshots starting with the home page. If you don't have access to QuickBooks for the presentations and you would like to just follow along with the screenshots, then you can use these in order to do so. We're focusing in here on the customer section, and then we want to look at the customer center, and the customer center can be found here, or you can find it in the drop down up above. Here's a closer look at that customer section for the flow that we looked at in prior presentations. If you hit the drop down up top, you get to the customer center here. You can also find it by clicking this icon on the home page. I like going to the drop downs because the drop downs are always there, even if you're not currently in the home page and you want to get to the customer center. The customer center looks like this. It looks similar to the vendor center, except of course we have the customers. We got the customer tabs left hand side, list of customers on the left. We can create new customers up top. We have the ribbon up top for other options we'll go over in the presentation. The primary tab you probably would be looking at being the transaction tab for each individual customer, thinking about the transactions for that customer, which will often be things like an invoice that would happen as billing, getting a payment, meaning receiving payment, possibly a sales receipt types of forms as we make sales to the particular customers. Then if we go down, this is going to be a screenshot of a new customer field, which you could get to by going to new customer up top. It's also something that you can create new customers as you enter data into data input forms for things like sales, such as an invoice, such as a sales receipt. Then you need the minimal information in order to record a sale, including the customer name. And then a lot of this information below is not required, but you would probably want to get more information on the customers than some of the vendors possibly. In other words, when you have a vendor and you're paying a bill, you might simply want enough information to pay the bill for something like a utility bill or something like that. But on the customer side, quite likely that you're more likely to want to get information if you can, so that you have the number and your contact information. You can send them your newsletter and so on and so forth. If we go back to the the customer center, and we look at the drop down here, we've got some options for the sorting. The active customers is the default. That means that if you have inactive customers, what would that mean? That would mean that you'd had customers that had activity in the past. You don't want them showing up anymore because you want to shorten your customers list, but you can't delete them because they have transactions in the past. You can make them inactive so that you can basically come to the default of the active customers. You could show customers with open balances, customers with overdue invoices, customers with almost due invoices. If you sort, for example, by customers with a balance, you got now the customers with the balance on the left-hand side, making it easier to find the thing you're looking for, transactions for that particular customer. Then on the right-hand side, scrolling down, then the information on the right under the Transactions tab, you can sort the Transactions tab. If you have a lot of data for a particular customer, a lot of transactions going on with them, you could sort by them. You got the all transactions, all sales transactions, balance details, payments and credits, estimates, invoices, statements, charges, sales receipts, receive payment. So you can look for the particular type of transaction you're looking for a particular customer. You can also go to the Transactions tab on the right, and you'll see the familiar type of transactions that can be taking place, which are led typically with the forms that we saw on the flow of the accounts receivable, sales, or revenue cycle represented on the home page, including the estimate, the invoice, the statement, charges, sales receipts, received payments, credit memos, and refunds. Oftentimes, you might be looking at the invoices because you might be trying to find those open invoices, those which you have not yet received, those which you would like to follow up on, possibly giving out reminders, hey, customers, you owe us money. How about you pay us sometime? That would be nice. We'd appreciate it. So then you can also have the sort options on the right-hand side over here. So between all invoices, for example, you might want just the open invoices or the overdue invoices so that you could focus in and sort in that way as well. Noting that the customer cycle, when you're looking on the balance sheet, the major account that we're focused in on is that accounts receivable account, which is broken down in essence by a subledger, which is represented by sub-reports typically, which could also be represented by the customer center itself, breaking down the accounts receivable balance by who we owe the money to, or who owes us the money by customer. So then we got down below the customer balance detail. This is like a subsidiary ledger report. The bottom line of it, if we had the bottom line here, should in essence tie out to the accounts receivable on the balance sheet, breaking this information not out by date, simply by date, as would be the transaction detailed report, in essence a general ledger report, but rather a subsidiary type report, breaking out that same information by who owes us the money, and that's going to be then by customer.